In an era of ever-emerging design trends, it can be hard to not follow the latest craze. But what we often don't realize is that behind the captivating appeal of these trends is the challenge of recreating them to the level of our aspirations. In this video, we're going through 10 popular design trends that are often poorly done and give you guidance on what to do instead. Just before we begin, I wanted to preface that many of these popular trends are completely fine concepts as of themselves. The problem is that they're usually badly done. I also think that we should all worry less about what is in or out of style. Almost everything cycles in and out anyway. What matters more is designing a space that you love and one that fits your lifestyle. Now, let's get into the 10 design trends that are often poorly executed. LED strips are a great form of lighting, especially in contemporary spaces. But the trend requires more effort than just pasting the strips on your wall. Technically, LED strips are a lighting component rather than a finished lighting product, similar to light bulbs. The strips are not designed for the individual LEDs to be exposed. They need to either be used as an indirect source of light, recessed, or hidden, or they need to be properly diffused with an aluminum channel and polycarbonate diffuser. Otherwise, they'll look really cheap and not properly light the space. All you'll be able to see will be raw LED dots. So, if you want to DIY your LED strips, look for an LED channel diffuser. These usually snap on and off the top of an aluminum channel, which you can thread the LED strips through. They're typically frosted, so the light will all be nice and soft and diffused. When done right, LED strips are a great addition. Not just as an accent lighting, but also for functional purposes like lighting up a staircase or for creating diffused task lighting under a shelf. They can also be used as recessed or indirect lighting behind a bed or hidden in a recess in the ceiling. Accent walls are more often than not done poorly and out of context. Many people see an empty wall in their space and decide to transform it into an accent wall for the sake of doing something with that area. They think it's an easy way to add interest. But the reality is that poorly planned accent walls stick out like eyesores. They often feel choppy and visually disorganized and take all your attention away from the rest of your room. The worst ones are the triangle frog tape or geometric single color walls. Luckily, there is an easy fix. Accent walls often feel out of place because of the sharp contrast between the colored wall and the surrounding plain walls. That is why to pull one off well, you need to make sure there's enough visual interest to distract your eyes from the edges. You may have noticed that accent walls work really well when they emphasize a focal point of a room, such as the headboard wall of a bedroom, the fireplace wall of the living room, or the end of the dining room with the styled credenza. All of these examples have furniture that distract your eyes away from the wall's edges. If there's not going to be furniture, at the very least, there needs to be something else on the wall. The color of the wall can't be the only decor. So, layer the accent wall with objects, art, furniture, lighting, or plants. Your eyes need something to look at. Otherwise, why draw all your attention away to a random empty wall? Same thing applies to those randomly painted arches that I'm seeing all over TikTok at the moment. While it's not my thing, I can see how many people find it appealing. If you have an arched doorway or perhaps a curved alcove, then you too may want to paint it as an accent moment. But make sure it is balanced out with other decor on that wall, and that is not the only arch moment in your space. I'd also avoid painting a rectangular door with random arches. My last tip on accent walls is to be aware of the style of your home. It is not a good idea to put a geometric contemporary accent wall in a traditional home, as it will look totally out of place. Neutral rooms can look absolutely stunning, but when neutral is taken to the extreme, i.e. when everything is done in the exact same neutral tone, rooms fall completely flat. What most people don't realize is that color usually carries a room, and without color, less inspiring details become blatantly obvious. You've probably been immediately taken in by a room full of color before and have been totally oblivious to the less inspiring details in the room because of all the colors. In a neutral room, there's nothing to take your attention away from these underwhelming elements. That is not to say that you can't pull off a neutral room. You just have to make it interesting through either architectural features and/or by paying attention to details in your decor, which I talked about in more detail in this video on how to decorate a neutral room. If your home already has plenty of architectural features like molding, arched doorways, original fireplaces, ornate ceilings, original tile or woodwork, then consider yourself lucky. You'll already have enough interest in your room for a neutral scheme to not look flat. But if you live in a cookie cutter home or apartment, like most of us do, and want to decorate in neutral, then you need to incorporate these things: iconic shapes in your furnishings, texture, contrast, as well as interesting decor like artworks, oversized mirrors, elevated lights, and/or plants. Knickknacks are simply clutter posing as decor. Consumerism has conditioned us to feel the urge to fill in every single blank space in our homes. But negative space is necessary in design. In fact, if everything catches our eyes, then nothing catches our eyes because they won't know where to rest. My simple rule is that anything displayed needs to be either functional, sentimental, or beautiful. If it doesn't fall into any of those categories, then get rid of it or donate it. Of course, this is subjective, so you're the only one who can answer. But you shouldn't be wasting space or displaying things that are neither functional, sentimental, or beautiful to you. Bare bulbs were a huge trend in the past few years, but the trend totally ignores all the progress we've made in creating non-glare lampshades and energy-efficient light fittings. While Edison bulbs can give a stylish look and are inexpensive, they tend to emit more heat than light, are less energy efficient than other bulbs, and have a shorter lifespan than LED bulbs. It's even worse when bare bulbs are used as the main source of general ambient lighting for a room. Exposed bulbs are only meant to be used as a decorative or mood lighting, but so many people use them as primary light source, like this kind of pendant in a kitchen. The bulbs for these are either too bright and blinding, or so dim that you can't see the space. When it comes to choosing lamps and light fixtures, my opinion is that you have to consider function before appearance. Badly lit rooms are not only less pleasant, but they also strain our eyes. If you really want exposed bulbs, consider frosted or milky bulbs, which are kinder to the eyes, although I still wouldn't use them as a primary source of light because of the glare. Even consider looking for Edison-style bulbs that are actually LEDs, as the light quality will be better and they're more energy efficient. Or only use them as decorative or secondary lighting, which are supposed to be a dimmer type of lighting anyway. If you want to learn more about lighting, definitely check out my video on how to light a space, where I go into depth about how you can perfect lighting in your home. Many people end up adding a pop of color to neutral rooms as a way to stop them from feeling flat. The problem is that color immediately takes your attention, so you can't just slap a single shade of a color into a neutral room and expect it to look good. More often than not, it will look out of place. For an accent color to be successful, you need to repeat it multiple times in different doses and on different surface materials. In other words, you need it to be on different textures and you need variation. A good rule of thumb, if you want to go mostly neutral but sprinkle it in one color, is to make sure you're bringing in a sampling of hues of each color. Think of those long paint chips from hardware stores that have the lightest tone at the top all the way down to the darkest hue on the bottom. Try to use a few, if not all of them. You can even pull in other shades of your color choice, but it is very important to repeat them multiple times throughout the room. Loud fall finishes cheapen the feeling of rooms as they often fail to capture the essence of the high-quality material they're trying to imitate. Take faux grains printed on laminate surfaces as an example. They try to emulate real wood but lack the organic warmth and texture of genuine timber. Same goes with fake porcelain with loud veining made to look like marble, or particle board furniture made to look distressed, and faux plants that obviously screams fake. My advice here is simple. Get the real thing or choose a faux product that is a bit more quiet so it doesn't demand as much attention. Another good middle ground is to consider veneer. Furniture with veneered wood means that the core or inside may be made from different material, but the outer layer is wrapped in real wood, albeit just a very thin slice. The majority of homes nowadays come with can-shaped recessed LED lights. They're completely fine as they're meant to be functional and provide even lighting throughout the day, as most homes don't have windows that wrap all the way around. But these lights are not designed to be the only light source, especially not at night, as they can make it more difficult to switch off after a long day. Not to forget to mention, they also cast very unflattering shadows, which instantly turn any interior space into flat and sterile. So, install other lamps throughout your space. Table and floor lamps, wall sconces, pendants. There's so many different varieties to choose from, and trust me, it'll totally transform your space. I'd also consider having indirect light sources that are bounced off the wall or object. Some examples include up-down wall sconces, strip lighting, or one of my favorite, spotlights, which you can use to light up a dramatic plant, artwork, or collections. Wall washing is another great technique that you don't often see in builder-grade homes, but are often present in high-end homes, hotels, and museums. This form of recessed lighting is often placed about 18 to 24 inches from the wall depending on the ceiling height, and used in a series to spread light onto a large surface. When light is bounced off a vertical surface like this, it allows you to notice the walls or architectural features rather than the fixture itself. Try to avoid generic art like those animal and landscape canvas prints you can get from IKEA and dollar shops, as they're in every second homes and nearly every Airbnbs. Even worse are quote artworks like live, laugh, love, or ones that say eat for a kitchen. I've said this 1,000,000 times, but I'll keep doing it until they no longer exist. They lack creativity and originality, making a room feel bland and uninspiring. Instead, buy an original piece from a local market, thrift shop, or an art auction. Or if you don't want to invest too much, create your own art, or hang your own photographs, or even display art from your own hobbies. There's nothing inherently wrong with modernizing homes so they better fit the 20th century, but I've seen so many horror jobs of making a beautiful century home into an awful builder-grade farmhouse, all the way to celebrities demolishing original mid-century homes by Craig Elwood to replace them with a farmhouse. My personal opinion is that if you plan to strip everything away, then what is the point of buying those beautiful period homes to start with? There's plenty of newly built homes that may be closer to your liking. Yes, there are exceptions. Maybe the neighborhood or location is better. But even then, we should all be striving to work with the architecture and the surrounding area of a beautiful period home and preserve some of those details. There should be a balance when modernizing a home, and it can make for a really wonderful home when it's done properly. If you're about to embark on your own interior decorating journey, I'd recommend checking out my practical home design course that I've just released. I covered the step-by-step process that will allow you to confidently make your own choices and design a home you love. Otherwise, check out this video on decorating a neutral space and how to design a timeless home. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.